Right now, lean your head down and smell your own shoulder. Go on. What you get back is almost nothing. A faint whisper of laundry, maybe a ghost of deodorant, clean cotton, soap. You smell essentially like a product, like a shelf at a pharmacy, and you think that's just what a person smells like. It isn't. You are one of the very first humans in 300,000 years to smell like this, like almost nothing at all. For nearly the entire history of our species, every single person you ever stood next to carried a thick, warm, personal cloud of scent that announced them before they said a word. Your mother. Your enemy. The stranger across the fire. You would have known each of them in total darkness, by nose alone. So what did ancient humans actually smell like? The answer changes how you understand attraction, memory, and what your own nose is secretly still doing to every person you meet. Let's start with the one smell you could never, ever have escaped. Smoke. Because for at least 1,000,000 years, our ancestors lived inside the orbit of a fire, not near a fire, inside its reach. You slept beside it, you ate beside it, you woke up in its smoke, and you carried that smoke with you everywhere you went. The earliest solid evidence of controlled fire comes from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, dated to around 1,000,000 years ago. And from that point on, wood smoke wasn't an occasional smell in human life. It was the background of human life. Think about what that does to a body over years. Smoke doesn't visit your skin and leave. It soaks in. It works into your hair, your beard, the fur draped over your shoulders, the pores of your skin, until the smell of burning wood isn't something on you. It's part of you. If you have ever come home from a campfire and noticed your hair still smelled of it the next morning, you felt a tiny echo of it. Now imagine that smell, deepened over a lifetime, on every human being alive. Everyone you loved smelled, at their core, like wood smoke. But smoke was only the top note. Underneath it was something far more personal. Here's a fact that should stop you. For almost the entire human story, there was no soap, none. The first hard evidence of soap being made shows up with the Babylonians, around 2800 BC, a mixture of fat and ashes. That sounds ancient. It's practically yesterday. Anatomically modern humans have been around for roughly 300,000 years, which means soap has existed for less than 2% of our time on Earth. For the other 98%, nobody in your entire family line ever once lathered up. That does not mean they were filthy. This is where people get it wrong. Ancient humans bathed. They waded into rivers. They scrubbed with sand and water. They groomed obsessively, the same way every primate does. But water alone doesn't strip the oils and the bacteria off your skin. Soap does. So no matter how often an ancestor rinsed in a cold river, they still carried the one thing you have spent your whole life chemically erasing, their own natural smell. And that smell has a very specific source. It isn't dirt. Tucked into your armpits and a few other warm hidden places, you have a special kind of sweat gland. It's called an apocrine gland, and here's the strange thing. The sweat it makes comes out completely odorless. It has no smell at all. The smell comes from what happens next. Your skin is a living zoo, home to billions of bacteria, and those bacteria feast on that apocrine sweat and break it down. Their waste products are what you actually smell, so your body odor was never really you in the first place. It's the exhaust of a colony of microbes living on your skin, as unique to you as a fingerprint, because everyone's microbe zoo is a little different. Now strip away the modern world. No soap to thin out that colony. No aluminum antiperspirant to plug the glands. That wasn't invented until around 1903. No deodorant, no body spray, no perfume, nothing. Just skin, sweat, bacteria, and time, doing what they have always done. Every ancient human walked around inside a rich, dense, deeply personal scent that we, today, would call overpowering. But here's the strange part. To them, it was invisible. Because your nose has a quiet, almost magical trick, and it's happening to you right this second. It's called olfactory adaptation. When a smell is constant, always there, never changing, your brain simply stops reporting it. It edits it out. You already know this. even if you've never named it. Walk into someone else's house and you smell their house instantly. A specific smell, theirs, unmistakable. But you cannot smell your own home. It's not that your house has no smell, it's that you have been marinating in it so long your brain deleted it from the picture. You are nose blind to your own life. Now apply that to a whole species. Every ancient human was steeped, from birth to death, in the same background of wood smoke and skin and sweat and bodies. It was the constant. So their brains erased it, exactly like yours erases your own bedroom. The thick human cloud that would knock you flat if you time traveled into it? They couldn't smell it at all. It was simply the smell of being alive. And it gets stranger, because that smell wasn't only different in strength, it was different in kind. Because they ate nothing like you. Everything you eat, you eventually breathe out and sweat out. Your scent is partly a live readout of your last few meals, and the ancient menu produced a completely different reading than yours. There was no sugar, not the refined kind, not in any quantity. No bread as we know it, no soda, no candy, none of the soft processed food that coats a modern mouth. Which matters, because the bacteria that cause bad breath and rotting teeth thrive on exactly that sugar and starch. Study the teeth of pre-farming hunter-gatherers, and you find something almost eerie. Very little tooth decay. Cavities explode later, only when humans settle down and start farming grain. So an ancient person's breath, missing all that sugar-fed bacteria, simply did not smell the way a modern mouth does. Their sweat was different too. A diet heavy in meat, roots, and whatever the land gave up burns fuel differently than a diet built on bread and sugar, and that changes the faint chemical signature leaking out of the skin. Put it together, the smoke, the unwashed skin cloud, the meat and root breath, and you get a human scent that has, quite literally, no modern equivalent. There is no bottle of it. There is no person alive who smells like that anymore. But now comes the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Because all that scent you've spent your life scrubbing off, it was never noise. It was a message, and your nose is still trying to read it. In 1995, a Swiss biologist named Klaus Wedekind at the University of Bern ran one of the most quietly disturbing experiments in the history of human attraction. It's now famous by a nickname, the sweaty t-shirt study. He took a group of men and had each one wear the same plain cotton t-shirt for 2 straight nights. No soap, no deodorant, no perfume, sleeping in it, sweating into it, until each shirt carried that man's raw personal scent. Then he collected the shirts, sealed them in boxes, and had women come in and simply smell them, one by one, and rate which ones they found most attractive. The result was not random, not even close. The women were consistently most drawn to the shirts of men whose immune systems were most genetically different from their own, a set of genes called MHC, the genes that build your defense against disease. They had never met these men. They saw no faces, heard no voices. They were choosing, by nose alone, partners whose immune genes would combine with theirs to give a future child the broadest possible protection against sickness. Sit with what that means. Hidden inside that gross body odor is a readout of your immune system, and the human nose evolved to read it, to sniff out, in a stranger, the genes that would make the healthiest baby. For your ancestors, standing close in that scent-drenched world, this was running constantly, silently, under every attraction they ever felt. They were, in a real sense, smelling each other's DNA. And mate choice was only one thread of it. Scent held the whole group together. A mother can pick out her own newborn by smell within days of birth. This has been tested, blindfolded, again and again, and it works. Newborns, in turn, will turn their heads toward a pad that carries their own mother's scent over a stranger's. That bond starts in the nose. In a small ancient band of 30 or 40 people, moving together through the dark, smell was how you knew your family, your child, your people. An invisible map of who belonged to you, drawn entirely in scent. And you're still doing it. You just buried the signal. For a long time, people believed the human nose was basically a failure, a weak, retired organ, a leftover from smellier days. You've probably been told dogs put us to shame, and we barely smell at all. It's a myth. In 2017, a neuroscientist named John McGann at Rutgers University published a paper in the journal Science with a blunt title, "The Idea of Poor Human Smell is a 19th Century Myth." We have around 400 working smell receptors, and a 2014 study estimated the human nose can tell apart something on the order of 1 trillion different odors. 1 trillion. Your nose is not a broken instrument. It's an extraordinary one. You've just spent your whole life in a world with almost nothing left to smell. Because look at what we built. We wash the human scent off with soap. We plug the glands with antiperspirant. We bury whatever's left under deodorant and perfume. And think about what perfume actually is. It's a decoy. We spend billions of dollars every year to make ourselves smell like flowers, spice, smoke, anything at all, specifically so we won't smell like a human being. We took the one honest signal our bodies were built to send, and we spray flowers over it. So imagine it for real. Imagine you could stand for 1 minute in an ancient camp. The fire, the fur, the bodies pressed close in the dark. It would hit you like a physical wall. Your modern nose, raised on soap and clean laundry, would reel. You'd want to step back. You would call it a stench. But you'd have it exactly backwards. That wall of smell isn't the strange thing. You are. You are the anomaly, the freshly scrubbed, scent erased, faintly of detergent human that has existed for a blink of an eye at the very end of an enormously long, enormously fragrant story. For 300,000 years, to be human was to carry your own particular cloud, your smoke and your skin and your secret genetic signature, and to know the people you loved by breathing them in. Every one of your ancestors could be found in the dark by smell. Their mother knew them by it. Their mate chose them by it. And now you've washed yours away so completely that you can lean down, smell your own shoulder, and find almost nothing there at all. So here's the question worth sitting with. If your body still makes that ancient signal, and your nose can still read it, and you spend every single morning scrubbing it off and hiding it under flowers, then who exactly are you hiding from, and what is it, buried under all that soap, that you were never supposed to stop smelling?